Hi everyone, we're going to review the principles of two approaches. These are task-based learning and project-based learning. Let's start with TBL. What is TBL? Task-based learning. In task-based learning, the central focus of the lesson is the task itself, not a grammar point or a lexical area, and the objective is not to learn the structure but to complete the task. To complete the task successfully, students have to use the right language and communicate their ideas. Then the language becomes an instrument of communication which purpose is to help complete the task successfully. Students can use any language they need to reach their objective. Usually, there is no correct answer for a task outcome. Students decide on their own way of completing it, using the language they see. However, it's important to guide the students through the completion of the task. They can be very creative, which is not bad, but you want something specific from them, so do not leave them by their own at all. We have important stages. We have 3 stages. The first one is the pre-task, introduction to the topic and task. In this part, the teacher introduces the topic and familiarizes students with the situation, lexical areas, text, readings, and listenings. This draws the students into the topic and brings up language that may be useful. It is possible that the students already know a little part of the language. The teacher then explains what the task is and sets up the activity. Then comes the task cycle, task planning and report. Students perform the task in pairs or groups. They may then present their findings, conclusions to the rest of the class. In this stage, mistakes are not important. The teacher provides support and monitors. The learners focus on communication, perhaps at the expense of accuracy, but this will be dealt with the next stage. Language focus. The teacher works on specific language points which come up in stage 2. During the monitoring stage, most teachers take notes on common errors and students' particular learning needs. Students reflect on the language needed to complete the task and how well they did. This is their opportunity to concentrate on accuracy and make sure they resolve any doubts or problems they have. Tasks can be as simple as putting a list of animals in order from fastest to slowest and then trying to agree with a partner on the correct order. Or it could be something more complicated like a survey to find out which parts of town your classmates live and how they get to school, ending in visual information presented in the form of a pie chart or map. Or it could be something really complicated like a role play involving a meeting in the town hall of the different people affected by a new shopping center development and the consequent demolition of a youth center and old people's home. Whatever the task, it always has some kind of completion, and this completion should be central to the class, the language resulting naturally from the task and not the other way around. There are some points to consider. One of the criticisms of TBL is its randomness. It doesn't often fit with the course book or syllabus, which tends to present language in neat packages. Some teachers and learners also find the move away from explicit language focus difficult. This approach can be adapted to students and class needs, so you can use some of the stages presented previously to emphasize your class. There is also some important things to think before we plan a class in TBL. It's really important to give clear instructions, check for understanding, establish a specific outcome from the task, evaluate. Did all complete the task? Did they reach the outcome? Did they follow all the steps? And finally, the feedback. Spot general problems or reward students' work. This is something that we need to consider each time that we have the TBL as a part of our classes. The next part is going to be PBL, project-based learning. In this approach, we have 4 important elements. Number 1, central topic, which is all activities derived and which drives the project towards a final objective. Access to means of research, meaning that all the ways students have access to information, internet, libraries, or any other kind of resource. Number 3, plenty opportunities for sharing. This part means that they need to do a lot of negotiation, collaboration, and communication. Interaction is really important with other learners. And number 4, a final product, often produced using new technologies available to us in the form of posters, presentations, reports, videos, web pages, blogs, and so on. These are 4 important characteristics about project-based learning. In this case, we have 7 parts in the project-based learning. The number 1 is driving question or challenge. We start with an important part, like a question, a general question for the students to answer. So this case could be a problem or something that they see in their context. The second, need to know. We ask the students to look for more information about the first part, which was the first question. Maybe do research on internet, ask partners, ask parents. In the number 3, we have the inquiry and innovation. In this part, we have that students need to go and check many things about the main problem that they're going to ask. So in this case, students find project work more meaningful if they conduct a real inquiry, which does not mean that finding information in books or websites and passing it into a poster. It's not just go and research and copy and paste. They need to start asking more questions, more things that can guide their project to a final product. Students follow a trail that begins with their own questions, leads to a research for resources, and discovery of answers, and often ultimately leads to generalizing new questions, testing ideas, and drawing their own conclusions. Then we go for the 21st century skills. In this part, we use the 4 C's: critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creation. So, in this case, we foster students to not only research and paste, but to use other higher level skills to have a really compelling project. So, for critical thinking would be solving problems, communication, understanding and communicating ideas, collaboration, working with others, and creation, producing high work quality. Then we go for the student voice and choice. In this part, students intervene with their own conclusions, with their own ideas. They need a lot of communication in this part. On the limited choice end of the scale, learners can select what topic to study within a general driving question or choose how to design, create, and present products. Here, the teacher is not that involved. Students are negotiating on how they're going to develop all the parts of the project. Then we go for the feedback and revision. Formalizing a process for feedback and revision during a project makes learning meaningful because it emphasizes that creating high-quality products and performances is an important purpose of the endeavor. Here, it's really important that the teacher intervenes on checking how they're doing, solving problems if there is a case of a problem, and guide or answer questions that the students may have. And the final part would be the publicly presented product. Schoolwork is more meaningful when it's not done only for the teacher or for a test or only for the presentation in the class. Students present work to a real audience, and these make it a big thing for them. It is bigger for them, and it's meaningful. So they can show what they found, what they did, their process, and all the things that they did during all the 7 stages. So we have a really important conclusion. The first one is the achievement of realistic objectives. So for both the TBL and PBL, focus primarily on the achievement of realistic objectives and then on the language that is needed to achieve those objectives. They both treat language as an instrument to complete a given objective rather than isolated grammar point or lexical set to learn and practice. They give plenty of opportunities for communication in an authentic context and give the learner freedom to use the linguistic resources students have and then reflect on what they learn or need to learn. So, this is it about TBL and PBL. Thank you very much.